Okay, okay.
Great question. So then the hallmark of Parkinson's, again, we don't see this until somebody has passed away and they take a look and do the autopsy, but we see what's called Lewy bodies. And Lewy bodies are deposits of this protein called alpha-synuclein. What happens with the alpha-synuclein, for whatever reason, it starts to become misfolded. I can't tell you exactly why. And for different people, it may be different. It may be some kind of pesticide that's introduced. It may be some kind of genetic predisposition. But the alpha-synuclein becomes misfolded, clumps up together, and forms this Lewy body. So that's the hallmark of Parkinson's disease when they look at it under a microscope.
It's called a gluey?
Lewy body, L-E-W.
Oh, Lewy body, okay.
Yep.
So when you're saying this photo, they're just kind of like clumped together, like clusters, and they just...
Exactly, and they kind of clump together, and then the cell is like, what the heck is this? I don't know what to do with it. So the lysosome, if you guys remember, like the garbage disposal of the cell, has no idea how to process it and get rid of it. So current theory is showing that actually the cell, instead of taking care of it and getting rid of it, it passes it on to another cell.
Oh, wow.
So that's why it starts to spread. Yeah, it's really crazy. And this is all kind of like emerging research coming out. There's a theory called the prion theory, if you guys remember, like mad cow disease. So it kind of is thought to spread in a similar way. And it's also thought to spread from the gut up to the brain, which is why a lot of people experience the constipation as one of the first symptoms. So those are the dopamine cells that we're seeing being affected and depleted. So why do we need dopamine anyway? We need dopamine for a lot of different reasons. So dopamine neurons are essential for relaying messages that plan and control body movement. So this is like primarily involuntary movements that we don't even think about. So a lot of people call it the destruction of autopilot. So things that used to be completely thoughtless for people, like standing up from a chair, walking across a room, now actually over time from the disease actually require conscious thought to execute the movement. Dopamine is also essential for regulating learning and emotional responses. It is associated with our feeling of pleasure and satisfaction and is part of the reward system. So dopamine is involved in motivation and working memory systems. So what does that mean? It's a lot, and it's a very diverse molecule, and it works in different systems in different ways, which is why when I do show you the slide with all the different symptoms, you're like, what the heck? Are these even related? Because you'll see symptoms related to mood, symptoms related to anything from movement to autonomic issues. So it's a very important molecule that affects multiple systems. So I'll get into this a little bit more, but because dopamine is associated with motivation and working memory systems, so motivation, a lot of folks with Parkinson's have apathy, where they just don't feel like doing anything. So I found working with this population, like you really need to be very, very direct with them. You need to reach out to them multiple times just to get them off the couch sometimes. Once they're in, they're usually in, and they're very dedicated. But the initiation of getting people to start a program is challenging. And then also working memory systems, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But people with Parkinson's oftentimes very early on have mild cognitive impairment. And they actually may look good from a motor standpoint. You may barely notice from a motor standpoint that they have Parkinson's. But underlying, they may be having a hard time paying attention to you. They may have a hard time keeping a schedule. So we'll kind of get into that in a little bit too, and what you can do to help support those things. All right, enough of that pathophysiology. Any questions on that?